So after a summer of mass shootings that really shook our country, this afternoon, President Biden is expected to tell us more about his Safer America plan. He's going to ask Congress to expand his budget with $37 billion in funding for law enforcement and crime prevention. The question now is, will he get it? ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katersky joining me now. So, Aaron, let's lay out some of the specifics here. What exactly is in President Biden's plan?
This is to build on what was passed and what he signed back in June, which was the first significant gun-related legislation in decades, Kira. And what this is meant to do is to try to get more police officers on the street and to try to give them more training and to give the criminal justice system a bit more resources so that it can filter more criminals, perhaps through our backlog systems. A lot of this, though, is really about the limit of what the president can do through executive orders and all that. The rest is about cajoling states to use some existing money to put towards some of these policing efforts. So it's a little bit more, but it's certainly not going to push the can too much further down the road.
Do you think he'll get bipartisan support on this?
Do we get bipartisan support for anything these days, Kira? I don't know. I'd leave the politics to you there in Washington. But we know that the Republicans don't want to give the president any legislative victory before the midterm elections, although this seems to be right in the wheelhouse of where Republicans are if they claim to be the party of law and order. And the president, I think, you'll hear him try to test that out as he pushes for $37 billion. We know the Republicans have been reluctant to approve anything that involves more spending at a time when they believe there's enough government money out there.
All right, I'll take it out of politics and put it back in your wheelhouse. You cover police departments all over the country, Aaron. And, you know, this is a pretty big price tag. Yeah. So how do you see this translating to what we would actually see on the streets every day?
I think any police department would welcome the chance to hire more officers, to do more training, to add resources that could push more defendants through the criminal justice system faster. Here in New York, for example, the police department has complained rather vociferously about a backlog in the courts that is keeping people from properly getting prosecuted, and then just they're resurfacing on the streets, and they talk excessively about recidivism. So they definitely welcome the chance to get more resources to those places, and frankly to get more officers where they could be put to use on the streets. This is a time of rising crime, especially violent crime, and police departments would love to throw more resources at that.
And you're talking about hundreds of mass shootings just in the past year. So you think about that. You think about this plan the president's going to talk about today. We have heard calls and protests across the country to defund the police after the death of George Floyd. So I'm curious, from your perspective, where do you think we've made the biggest changes since then? As we look forward and the president's asking for more money and wants to do more, how far have we come, if at all, since that moment George Floyd died?
I think police departments are by and large more aware of some of the perils that befell the Minneapolis Police Department during George Floyd. I think they're in many cases better trained, and also, I think in some cases maybe more at odds with the communities they serve because of the divide that defund the police moniker, even though it really wasn't true, ended up having. It really did put police and the communities they serve sometimes at odds, and it didn't really go anywhere. No police department was defunded ultimately. And indeed, here the president is saying, let's fund the police. Let's give police more resources, although I think even he would agree with some of his progressive critics that policing could be in for some changes. And that's why I think there's a training component here. But Kira, in terms of gun violence, this is unlikely to move the needle much. We know the president will undoubtedly again call for a ban on assault-style weapons, and that just seems like a non-starter.
Yeah. Well, our conversation will keep going for sure. That'll never stop. Aaron Katersky, appreciate it. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here. to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.